All right, at this time, I'm going to call this meeting to order. At this time, will you please silence any cell phones or electronic devices that you may have? And I will ask Mrs. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Penny?
Here.
Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Danio?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Villa?
Here. And at this time, I'll ask you all to stand for the invocation led by Vice Mayor Penny and continue standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will you pray with me? Dear gracious and loving God, we thank you for another beautiful day. We ask that you provide a cone of protection for anyone dealing with domestic violence. We also ask that you place your hands of comfort on all those that are dealing with cancer. We ask for blessings for all of our citizens and our city teammates dealing with financial and health concerns related to COVID-19. We ask that you give us wisdom and discernment as we conduct the business of the city of Holly Hill tonight. We ask all these things in your Son's precious name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. And now we will move to our presentation of the night, which is the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I have a proclamation here that I want to read into the record. And then at that point, would you like to say a few words? One of you here from... Okay. So I'll read this proclamation in, and then you can come up to the podium and say what you have to say as well. This is a proclamation by the Mayor of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas domestic violence is a crime that cuts across many communities, devastating people of all races, genders, ages, and socioeconomic levels. And whereas domestic violence destroys an individual's security, dignity, and prevents individuals from reaching or expressing their full potential in their communities. And whereas the destructive impact of domestic violence is wide-reaching, affecting children, families, corporations, the criminal justice system, medical communities, and society as a whole. And whereas victims of domestic violence suffer grave financial, physical, and psychological losses, and it is vital for our communities to support these victims and their children. And whereas many members of Congress, as well as other federal agencies, have expressed a commitment to eliminating domestic violence both nationally and internationally. Whereas across the country, families and friends of victims have gathered during Domestic Violence Awareness Month to remember and honor their loved ones who have lost their lives in the hands of a person that they once loved and trusted. And whereas shelters and local programs raise awareness about the crime of domestic violence in their communities, and local governments recognize our collective efforts to end violence. Now, therefore, I, Chris Villa, Mayor of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby recognize the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So now, if you would like to come up to the podium and just state your name and who you are, just for the record.
Sure. My name is Jessica Moore. I'm the programs manager for the Beacon Center. We're the only certified domestic violence center in Volusia County. We've been here about 43 years now, I believe. Wow. I really would just like to say thank you to the City of Holly Hill for this and recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. We couldn't do this without the support of our community and local law enforcement. So just a little background on us. Like I said, we're the only certified domestic violence center in the county. We serve women, men, and children. We have outreach services. You do not need to be in shelter to receive our services. And we do anything from credit repair, budgeting, helping with bank accounts, really anything that anyone could need when they're trying to escape a domestic violence situation. But once again, I really just can't say thank you enough to the City of Holly Hill for doing this for us. And we're so appreciative of the community support we've received this year. So thank you again.
Well, we can't thank you enough for all of the work that you guys do, because this is such an important issue that we have to get out there. People should know not to feel scared or worried about coming forward if they're in that situation. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. And in today's society where we've been locked in, unfortunately, I hope not, but I believe that there's more domestic violence happening with more people being home and around each other even more. And so this is really important timing that this comes about, and I just want to thank you on behalf of the commission and our entire community for all the great work that you guys do. You give hope to people that really, really need it and deserve your services. So thank you, and now we will present this to you. If you would like to come up, the city commission will come down, and you can come up and take a picture with the
That would be
proclamation.
awesome. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Scott. Look at that clock. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
We've been losing them for a few years.
At least want to see good twinkles in the eyes. Yeah. All right.
Standing? Yeah, Penny mentioned it to me, so, you know, it's on there, we'll approve it, and, I mean, I've been trying to get away with that. Yeah. There's nothing to pay.
All right. So now we'll move on to our public comment section. This is the audience's opportunity to address the commission about anything not on our regular agenda tonight. And I do know we have someone in the audience, Ms. Ariel, if you'd like to come up and speak to the commission. Just state your name, full name for the record, and your address, and then you can begin. You'll have 5 minutes. All right?
Okay. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm Ariel Kavanaugh. I live at 1511 Decatur Avenue in Holly Hill. I live in Holly Hill, and I enjoy spending a lot of time in the city running, fishing, walking my dog with my husband, William. I am a Volusia County school teacher. I recently lost my 27-year-old brother 2 months ago to cystic fibrosis. I've been running a lot more and recently completed a 46-mile run in honor of my brother. So yes, I do spend a lot of time outside. There was a big storm about a month ago that sat over Volusia County and made water levels rise. And as those storms normally do, they raised the water near Beach Street. However, when the water receded, what was left was truly disturbing to me. Tons of trash. I enjoy cleaning up when I can, so one day in mid-September, I decided to go out and pick up litter. I focused on the area south of LPGA boat ramp and boardwalk. After about an hour and a half, I picked up about 100 pounds of trash. I also encountered about 8 needles, which I honestly at the time didn't know what to do with. I don't have a sharps box at home, and I know that needles don't belong in the trash because they can hurt unsuspecting waste management workers and wildlife. I decided to leave them and go to the police department of Holly Hill to tell them where they are. I've seen needles at parks before. I know we don't live in a perfect world, but this wasn't like other times because there were so many. I went to the police department where I waited patiently to speak to a nice lady behind the glass. I told her I don't want the police to pick up the trash. I know they don't have time for that. I just wanted her to pass this information along to the station in hopes of someone caring enough to pick up a few. The area that I'm referring to is less than 1/10 of a mile. She said that's what waste management is for, not our officers, to pick up trash. I repeated that it was just the needles, not the trash. She kindly said that she would pass the word along to the rest of the station. About a week later, after posting to Holly Hill Facebook Crime Watch page about how much trash was out there, about 5 people showed up to the area to do their part and help out too. We all picked up about another 100 pounds of trash from the same exact location. This time, I picked up the needles using a gripper and gloves. Let me tell you, aside from the plastic bottles, straws, foam cups, we all found and counted about 5 pens, 2 chairs, 8 lighters, and get ready, 21 needles and 31 syringe caps. Some of them capped and uncapped. Yes, more needles than anything else. I placed them in a plastic Tupperware bin, which I happen to also find washed up near the water. I'm currently waiting for somebody that I know to come up to my house and dispose of them properly. They have a Sharps box. This was only a 1/10 of a mile, a small section of the riverfront. About 5 days ago, we had another small cleanup in the area. New people showed up, and together we pulled about another 50 pounds of small plastics and foam and 2 uncapped needles. The area is looking much, much better. I know the area was dug into by work trucks, but there are more and more ruts left every single day by regular visitors. Some are fishermen. I love to fish, and I used to come to that exact area a lot just to cast net too. But when I walk by the ruts and look into them, I also see fish that cast netters purposely threw out and left to die in the dirt. And new trash too. The park bench that was overturned a few weeks ago, then put back in place 4 days ago, is now thrown back again in the water's edge upside down. There's also a car floor mat and some beer bottles. We just cleaned this area. Do visitors not value this area as much as I do? I remember the area was full of grass and coastal vegetation. Now, honestly, it looks like a wasteland. I remember there being an osprey nest platform at one point in the area. The post is still there, but the platform was likely destroyed or lost with Matthew or Irma. This is what I'd like to hope happen with this estuary. Make it look like an estuary. Make the area valuable. Make it look protected and loved. How? Signage, a colorful sign that shows the exact fish and birds and other critters that inhabit that area. This sign would include redfish, trout, mullet, gulls, osprey, bald eagles, rabbits, ducks, fiddler, and blue crabs. I see all these animals every single day there. This should not be an area for garbage and misuse. A sign that says no littering, a nice one that just says that this is a natural habitat. I can look for one and have one made possibly. Add a trash bin. Since there is a bench, some people picnic and fish and walk their dogs there. So they probably have trash with them. Add a fishing line and collection tube. Give ospreys and eagles a platform on the post again. I don't know how to build one myself or if they sell them, but maybe we can get a grant or offer to have somebody build one and install it for us. I do know some people that work in like tree climbing and cutting stuff down like that. So I believe these steps and additions will help. I have a Facebook page that I created called Holly Hill Eco Friends, where residents can get together and talk about how to beautify Holly Hill. It's all about being positive and not complaining.
And Ariel, are you wrapping it up too?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the last section. Where
That's perfect. Without any objection, I'd like her to continue.
And I said that I have been in contact with our wonderful mayor, Chris Villa, about most of these events and issues, and he's been very supportive. He hopes to help out our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hated to interrupt, but just wanted to do that. So Ariel had contacted me, and she's done a lot of good work on her own time, volunteering. She walks all the time and picks up, as many residents do, and she's trying to put together a team of people to do that. So we owe you gratitude and thank you, and we will look into some of these ideas that you brought up. It's nice, as we all can attest to, when someone has a problem, comes up with a solution and brings it. So you're part of that solution, and I appreciate that as well. So we'll be continuing in talks, and any commissioner can contact you, or you could contact them directly as well. Mr. Forster, do we have any of those grippers, those picker-upper things that we used to have?
I'm sure we do. I'd actually like for Ariel to come see me or call me. I was made aware of this actually through Jim Legere, because I believe his daughter may have been part of that cleanup crew. And
Probably.
yeah, and we did send some of our personnel out there the next day to fix some of the things. But this is a very good presentation, and thank you for that. It wasn't a complaint, it was informational. But we still run into the same challenge of having the people to do these things, and I actually made a comment to someone that we need a volunteer coordinator, a volunteer to coordinate our volunteers, because efforts like this by the community are really what's important, that will help beautify these areas with the assistance of the city. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago the work that's happening down at 2nd Street by a bunch of volunteers from Marina Grande who have gone in there on their own and have really done a bang-up job of cleaning that park. And here's another example of citizens taking the time to clean up another section of the city. that we just don't have staff available to do. And maybe we could formally create these cleanup and maintain areas and designate it as, like you said, an estuary and put some credit behind it. So if you have time and you'd like, I'd sure like to speak with you about some more details on that and see what we can do to accomplish what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And I think Ms. Manning just gave you his card.
Yes.
So go ahead and contact him, and thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Legary.
Jim Legary, 342 Burley. I want to commend her for organizing as she has. I want to repeat what my daughters have told me, other than complaining about the needles. Some kind of garbage container would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Legary. Yes, Mr. Schultz.
Jim Schultz, 117 Harvard. Well, a couple other topics, I guess, that I can think about. But anyways, as far as volunteers on the, picking up trash, very commendable. And actually on the beach, every day you'll notice that there are a few people that do it with regularity. And usually it's the plastic and that sort of thing. After hurricanes or big storms, you get to pick up turtles and deliver them for safekeeping until the storm's over. And as far as domestic violence goes, definitely one of the worst combinations of things that can happen is losing your job and not having human interaction. And COVID has been fantastic at doing that. But it's not just the COVID, it's the lockdowns and the mentality that, yeah, we're going to put a few businesses out, like maybe half of the small businesses out of business forever, but it's worth it. No. Even the World Health Organization is getting into the act now and admitting that the damage, the cost, the deaths that are coming because of lockdowns, because of domestic violence, because of loss of human interaction, exceed the numbers that are actually dying from COVID. And then you get at the CDC, Redfield admits that the numbers are being cooked. They're being exaggerated. Why? Because they offered bounties or bonuses, $13,000 if you reported a COVID death. Did it have to be a COVID death? But it could have been. Do you want $13,000? It's a death. And if you want $39,000, put them on a ventilator. And you'll get another death too. So there's a lot of inequities here. And in all honesty, if you start looking at the data, what you find out is they could have done something very simple. They could have seen that people in nursing homes were actually a bit healthier. What could have they done? They could have improved their dietary things, or they could have given them a big dose of vitamin D, because there are such massive differences. And many of the studies that have been looking at the data, they're finding that the overwhelming majority of people who die are very deficient on vitamin D. Almost all your seniors in nursing homes don't get out in the sun. They don't get a supplement. They are being killed or dying, let's put, accidentally, just because they're not being cared for in an appropriate manner. It wasn't, it's frustrating. But anyways, so I blended into what I was going to actually talk about. The whole concept of the masks too, because now you've got the World Health Organization at different times flipping and flopping, that masks are required, that they're going to protect you. And then you've got the reality of the actual science. Del Bigtree just had a couple OSHA trainers. In other words, the people that go to businesses and do the assessments and tell them what they need in protective gear and masks, because sometimes it's inappropriate. And what they mentioned was that the COVID virus is so tiny, 0.6 micron to 1.2 micron. A mask doesn't stop it. And a cloth mask is totally worthless. A paper mask could, and just like Fauci, our great leader, Anthony there, he mentioned on March 8th, what did he say? He said civilians shouldn't be wearing masks unless they're exposed to somebody that is currently has COVID or they have COVID. You know, I'm getting tired of hearing stuff that isn't right. Maybe Scott Atlas will get it straight. He seems to be intelligent and knowledgeable.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak to the commission about anything not on our regular agenda tonight? All right, seeing none, I will close public comments. We move to number 4, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
We have a motion, and would you like to second it, Mr. Johnson? And we have a motion and a second. Would anyone in the audience like to speak to the minutes tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to the consent agenda. Mr. Forte, you would like to pull number 6?
Yes, please.
Correct? Okay. We're going to go ahead and pull number 6. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? This is the action proposed stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless a city commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there any, before I entertain a motion, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to any items on the consent agenda tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda without item 6.
Motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 5 and 7 through 9.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Danio has the second. Thank you very much. No discussion is needed. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Forte, item number 6.
Yeah, item number 6 has to do with the renewal of the trap, neuter, and release program through the Concerned Citizens for Animal Welfare. And when I put the agenda item together, I had attached what was the fee schedule for the spay and neuter program through the Redinger Clinic. And yesterday, I received an actual Redinger Clinic agreement, and there was a difference in the rates. The rates that I had in the original agreement said $40, and the actual rates are $45. So I had Val attach it to the agenda item tonight, but when I go back and I look at the agreement that came from the Redinger Clinic, it's actually an agreement, and I think I want to bring that back as a separate item to approve. Unless, of course, you could make a motion to go ahead and authorize the approval of it's the CCFAW, the Concerned Citizens for Animal Welfare's Memorandum of Understanding, as well as the Redinger Clinic, which is attached to the agenda item, but just make that a double motion for both of the items.
Is it time sensitive?
It's supposed to be effective October
Yes.
1, so it is kind of time sensitive in that if we have any cats that have to go out, I'm sure they would honor the amount, but the agreement is technically not in place.
Did everyone have time to look at the agreement that was attached? All right. I'm comfortable with allowing a motion for approvals of both, and you may want to restate that again, the motion.
Yeah, what I would suggest is that the motion be to approve the resolution authorizing the continuation of the Memorandum of Understanding by and between the City of Holly Hill, Florida, and the Concerned Citizens for Animal Welfare, renewing a trap, neuter, and return program for the control of the free-roaming cat population, as well as approve and authorize the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding with the Red Injury Clinic.
All
And
right.
that should be fine.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion that can reflect that? Oh, open to the public? Yeah, let's go ahead and open this up to the public first. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. Is there a motion that can reflect what Mr. Forte just outlined?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to our regular agenda. Number 1 is Team Volusia Economic Development Agreement, fiscal year 2020 to 2021. And we're happy to have Mr. Keith Norden here, the CEO or what's your title there?
President, CEO.
President.
Yeah.
Your presidency. I'm sorry. I downgraded you. Uh-oh.
I'm a Holly Hill resident. So
You
I'm
are.
even more proud of.
Hey, we're glad to have you here. So I understand that you have a presentation for us tonight, and
do, and it's-
Mrs. Manning is loading it up over there.
Oh, good. And I'm Keith Norden at 231 Riverside Drive in Holly Hill. And I'm very proud to lead Team Volusia. And Holly Hill is a very important municipal partner for us. While we're loading that, I just wanted to commend the city of Holly Hill. I meant to call Mr. Forty. As you know, I'm a walker down Riverside Drive, and I saw a relatively new electric box that was chrome at the intersection of LPGA and Riverside. And the City of Holly Hill crew was out cleaning graffiti that had just been marked on it overnight. And I thought that was pretty neat that, it wasn't there the day before, but they were there right first thing in the morning trying to get it off. So not many cities would do that. I've been in many cities that they would just leave the graffiti there.
You know what I say a lot is when citizens see something, they got to say something, because we can't be everywhere at all times. Although our police department and our employees are good, we're human, and so I'm sure that there might have been a complaint that came in. So that's good that happened.
I applaud the city to do that. And again, it's a great treat to be in front of the city commission this evening. Just wanted to go through briefly. I have a large slide deck, but I wanted to update you what we've been doing this year. As you may remember, we're a public-private partnership. We're the official public-private partnership for business recruitment and for Volusia County. And we are very pleased to leverage the public dollars we receive from Holly Hill with 12 other cities, as well as the county public dollars, putting in about 50% of our budget with private sector investment. And then we have 6 colleges and universities that provide us funding as well. We're 10 years old. The local team is a whole quandary of people, a host of community partners from the public sector, the private sector, and again, we leverage our 80 private sector partners with the public sector funding. Next is just a slide with all of our private sector companies that are that are involved in our group, and you can see it's the almost the entire business community here in Volusia County. We represent East Volusia and West Volusia and Southeast Volusia. The staff, next slide. We have a small and mighty staff, me excluded, but we do all this with just 4 full-time folks and a part-time bookkeeper. And then next, we're very, very proud of our leadership. Our leadership team is the business community of Volusia County, including John Ferguson, a Holly Hill resident, who is our legal counsel, former chair. And then we also have the county manager serving as an officer as well. And then with COVID, we really looked at several 2020 focus areas. The next slide. We looked at the beginning of the year, we looked at outreach, of course. The goal is to identify companies that would do a site visit or build relationships with site locations consultants that can refer business to us. Marketing, of course, is to raise the overall perception of Volusia County as a business community. We have many wonderful assets, but sometimes business doesn't come to the forefront. We work with competitive intelligence. That's where we provide our clients in our cities research information that can help sell their respective city or company. And then, of course, we provide community assistance. Now I'd like to go into the business development metrics and wanted to give you an update of the 2019 announcements. I know this is looking back last year, but we were very proud to work on a couple of aviation aerospace companies, European Laboratory, One Up Logistics, which is the Amazon quick delivery facility in Daytona Beach. And then, of course, we are very proud to work on the Amazon Fulfillment Center, which has just opened in Deltona. That is a project. This is an example of how long it takes to build a project. We first contacted Amazon about Volusia County in 2013, and then 7 years later, with almost constant contact with the company itself, they decided on a Volusia County facility. The exciting thing about that is now during COVID, it opened just 2 weeks ago, and their jobs, as soon as the jobs are listed, they're taken. They're posted on their Amazon website. They're taken. Those jobs include 401k, college education opportunities, as well as full health care benefits. So it's great to see a company actually at this time with so many layoffs in service industries and small businesses to be hiring. Right now they're at 500, and we would expect many, many more hundreds of people, particularly seasonal workers, as they ramp up for their busy holiday season. And you can see we're very proud that last year 126 million capital investment in payroll in Volusia County of $29 million. Then 2020 past projects updates, where we've announced Printech, which was a company from Europe that was identified at Satellite 2019. That company would not have been here if we hadn't met them in Washington, D.C. at a satellite conference. And again, that bills the aviation aerospace. That company could be anywhere in Volusia County. It operates with engineers and manufacturing. And keep in mind, when we talk about aviation and aerospace, that could be the manufacturing of widgets, it could be the manufacturing of carpet, it could be space, hardware, anything, and it could be done in any city. It doesn't have to be done on the Embry-Riddle campus or in Daytona Beach. For the most part, our project pipeline has small to medium-sized companies. So sure, we'd love to get the big Amazons from time to time. SI Karting is a company from Indianapolis that decided to expand in Volusia County, and that is a direct lead that went to Mayor Derrick Henry. And we were asked to locate the project. It's located in Daytona Beach, but again, the ownership lives at Marina Grande. So that's a success story for Holly Hill. The next slide is just a quick slide of our 5-year metrics. We do everything.
Hold on one second, Mr. Norden.
Keith,
Vice Mayor.
what's OOMPH in Ormond Beach? What is that?
It's a bakery.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've been very successful with food processing as well, and that's a great sector because it's recessionary proof. Food processing and medical, they go on whatever happens, and that's another thing that we worked on is B. Braun, and that's in Daytona Beach and in several facilities. But again, they produce the insulin bags that are used in all the hospitals. So, and they're ramping up. Oh, thank you for the question. Now, the metrics, you can see we metric everything from proposals to site visits. We also count prearranged meetings. If we go to a trade show, we just don't go to a trade show, we have prearranged meetings. So we want to make it worthwhile. So that's just a 5-year snapshot. Next are the 2020 activities. And so with COVID and that happening really starting March 17th, our building actually closed where we're housed for 3 months. So we worked remotely, and that's why Mr. Penny saw me out on the street from time to time, because we were working remotely. But we really changed focus and we looked inwardly. So, you know, we have a 3-year strategy that we are completing. We are continuing to focus on aviation and aerospace because we think it makes sense with the Space Coast and our being 60 miles from Kennedy and Patrick Air Force Base. And then we are, because of what happened with the pandemic, we're focusing on onshoring and manufacturing. That's really about PPE and bringing manufacturing back to the U.S. We don't want to be caught again with the manufacturing being in China. I actually bought this is a personal story, but I bought a handheld thermometer for my wife for Mother's Day, and I ordered it from a Deerfield Beach company that said it was in stock. And I ordered it 2 weeks before Mother's Day, and then I kept calling and calling, and then finally they sent me the shipment tracking, and it was coming from China to Long Beach. So it got to the house maybe 3 months late, but I was still rewarded with a nice Mother's Day gift. But again, we don't want that to happen where we're dependent on things coming.
Very romantic, Keith. Very romantic.
I know. She asked for it. I would not have. But I have given back.
Practical.
Another
It's
thing.
practical.
Yeah, that's true.
That was one of her better gifts, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, better than the flowers, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then we hope to initiate a 3-year strategy. Our strategy has run out this year. We have a few other things to complete. But the next 3-year strategy, which we'll tell you about, is going to be a county-wide strategy. The first strategy we did 3 years ago was for Team Volusia, and we hope to have a much wider coverage. What we did, again, we looked at investor development during the COVID pandemic, and we built our investor development committee up, and we also helped the communities and the county with their Volusia Business Resources page, which really was a page that they used for their CARE Act's funding. And we worked very closely with every city as well as every chamber and the county on that. The next slide, this is what we really focused on during the time we were working remotely. We were working on project management. We didn't miss a beat as far as projects. We have 80 projects, and I'm proud to say 36 came after March, so we're busy. We have a visit today, in fact, and we've had visits repeatedly coming to town, really starting in the midsummer. We've hosted many visits virtually, particularly from international companies that can't visit. We have to do it remotely on Zoom, but they're still very interested in Volusia County. Before March, we did 10 outreach events, and many of those have been postponed till next year. And then we really have revised our marketing focus. But the next slide is our 2020 business development project snapshot. You can see that we have 2 projects which have established, 5 in negotiations, and then 4 that have actually visited multiple times. The pie chart shows that our enterprise for our leads have increased, which we're very pleased about, and but our other direct leads, the ones that we find from our recruitment efforts or from site selectors that we build relationships with, or from local partners like the City of Holly Hill. Mr. Forty might call and say, I have a project, would you help us close it? So we're proud to say that represents about 58% of all the projects we work on. Those would not be here if we were not here. And this next slide is a nice example of how we've pivoted to virtual. These two outreach missions were actually going to be in person, and of course, during the summer, they changed to virtual. So Impact Smart Manufacturing was going to be held out of town, changed to virtual, and so we had 5 days of meetings with 52 appointments. And we could do that because it was virtual. So we actually started 6 NDAs, so there were 6 projects, and we worked with FPNO and Duke Energy. And then we also pivoted live exchange with a 2-day event, virtual, with 15 appointments. And then the next slide is our revised marketing focus. We're updating printed materials, industry-specific materials. We're updating our website with ZGraft with a new look. And then we're installing Salesforce, which is a new contact database, which should be, we should be able to give you a better reporting, easier reporting for us by the push of a button. The next slide is just our marketing updates. You can see that we have Livability 2020. We've got a new livability of that. And for some reason, they evolved the magazine that we do, the business magazine we do with the Daytona Regional Chamber, chose the chairman and myself to be on the cover. And this was during COVID, so we didn't know how we could get photographed together, but we did. I think Dr. Duvar Chair was concerned about standing next to me, but he is still well. So the next slide is our site readiness program. You know, it's very important for us to market the area to have ready sites or available sites and available buildings. And without those, we can't really get visits to come. We need a product. So we worked with our real estate task force, looking at 20 sites that were over 50 acres, and they actually chose 14 sites to be looked at and graded by Quest Site Solutions, and that's a well-known national firm, and we have that study done. So they ranked them from, you know, good sites, medium sites, or sites that needed work. Then working with the Duke Energy Foundation, we helped Duke look at their 3rd site in West Volusia. This is a very, very large site, a combination of sites. The first site that they did the site readiness on was in 2013, and that is the site that actually Amazon located on this year. So it does work. You know, a site readiness program might have 120 pages of information you have to fill out. It would be like a very substantial project coming to town, and so the consultants can say, yeah, this site is ready to go, or you've got 6 months to do that. This is the 3rd one. Duke Energy Foundation helped finance this. We brought in very well-known consultants from Dallas, but I posted a video that was done by Duke Energy Foundation on my LinkedIn page, and we received, you don't want to be on my LinkedIn page, but I received 1,100 views. So I'm very restrictive of who I let on my LinkedIn page. Not really, but the coverage, you know, for an example, the coverage that Volusia County had for that is wonderful, and these were people from all over the country looking at the fact that we have a really great set of sites. The next slide is a revision. That is a program that Mr. Forte was interviewed on. This is a community competitiveness study that we enacted. It was recommended by the 3-year strategy, and they're coming in to really look at, and they've come in to look at Volusia County and its competitive issues and how we fit competitively with other similar areas. So they're looking at a lot of things, the delivery system, the sites, the targets, all that. So we're excited about that. We should get draft in November of that, and that should be the first leg of a large countywide strategic plan. That company actually is led by Gray Swope, who is the former Secretary of Commerce of Florida, who opened the business 5 years ago. And then the next slide is just a snapshot of Volusia County and about our labor force and the the labor force of what we have, but also who comes in and who leaves, and job counts by distance. And we're happy to do this for the city of Holly Hill. We've got local information. The next slide is a snapshot of Holly Hill. And we have the databases that we can run any of these reports for you if you are interested. And that actually next ends my presentation, but I wanted to leave time for any questions you might have.
Well, first off, I'd like for you to email me that last slide as well.
Sure will.
Any facts on that? Maybe the whole
Yeah.
commission would benefit from that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Oh, that would be great.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment that, as you know, we don't have 50 acres to develop. And so what our focus, as you know, is redevelopment, and that is still economic development. And sometimes and in some ways it's harder than just saying here's a lot ready to build on, but in some ways too it can be more beneficial to the business as well. And as you know, working with our staff, we're very business friendly. We're wanting to help people come in, and I don't know if Mr. Fall, our new economic development coordinator, is here. Do you know Mr. Fall?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, we've met.
Good. But so I just want to bring it up, just make it front of mind, because you are a Holly Hill citizen, and so let's fight for the little guys sometimes too, to push them towards a redevelopment. And you talk about manufacturing. A lot of people don't know that we are a huge manufacturer of worldwide goods here in Holly Hill. And so bring all those manufacturing jobs you can right here to your home city.
That's
so just a statement.
I did want to add that we have been, you have been proposed on several occasions because of the building stock that you have and some of the sites. And in fact, at a meeting last week with the Real Estate Task Force, it was mentioned the plan is to look at smaller sites and smaller opportunities, and redevelopment came up in that conversation because many cities don't have the 50 acres.
Right.
So what we hope to do is have our Real Estate Task Force, which are the top real estate brokers and owners in the county, to look and do the assessments of those smaller sites. We can't afford to pay a consultant fees for the that we did for the larger sites, but for the smaller sites, we do, as I mentioned, our project pipeline is full of small to medium-sized companies. 2 people, 4 people, 10 people, 20 people, and they're all either manufacturers or, we don't do a lot of customer service, but we do more manufacturing and engineering firms, and all of those would fit well in Holly Hill.
That's great. And I say it all the time to you. You probably know this. We're the heart of the Tri-Cities. So our location, I think, is better than any other place to be right here. And then you can go right up LPGA if you're manufacturing goods, right up to LPGA to the highway. So I think geographically we're poised to be able to compete for some of those redevelopment issues. So now I'm going to open it up to my colleagues to see if there's any questions or comments.
No questions, no comments?
You got off easy tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks, Keith.
It's a pleasure to
Thank
see you
you.
again.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open this up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the item of the Economic Development Agreement? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now, item number 2, tow service contract, to reject any and all submittals and direct the staff to rebid the RFP for towing company agreement, bid number 2020-PD-01. Mr. Forte?
So we had the bid had gone out, and we received 2 proposals, one from Daytona Wrecker, the other from Volusia Towing, Universal Towing. And the award was given to Daytona Towing because they had a significant increase in what the royalty was that the city was getting from the current vendor. Daytona Towing decided the day before the contract was supposed to be enacted to withdraw their bid. So that left us with one remaining bid, and I felt that with only one bid to be considered, especially the way that the RFP was put out, that we didn't announce it to all of the local vendors able to do the job, that it would be in the city's best interest to have the commission throw out the one remaining bid and to resolicit an RFP for towing services. So what we're asking you to do tonight is to go ahead and throw out the remaining bid, to reject any and all submittals, and direct the staff to rebid the RFP for towing company agreement bid number 2020 PD01, and require the staff to notify the current vendor and all local vendors of the RFP to acquire additional qualified responsible bidders.
Thank you, Mr. Forte. Are there any questions for staff? At this time, we'll open up public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now we're moving to our public hearings section, and item 1, Mr. Forte, are we going to pull this item?
It's on the agenda. It's been advertised for tonight, so I think that what would be appropriate is to go ahead and read the title into the record. I'll have Brian, the Community Services Director, come up and explain to you why we need to delay this, and then ask the commission to table this discussion to the next scheduled meeting.
Okay. Mr. Simpson?
You'll need to take any public comment tonight,
Okay.
if there is any, and then we'll
And then
open it up for
table.
the actual public hearing at the next meeting.
Okay. Mr. Simpson?
Ordinance number 3030, by title only for first reading. An ordinance to the City of Holly Hill, Volusia County, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition approximately 9.7 acres identified as parcel number 4244-01-04-0080, contiguous to the City of Holly Hill, redefining boundaries of the City of Holly Hill to include said property and the adjacent right-of-way of 10th Street, directing the city clerk to file the ordinance with the clerk of the circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Volusia County, and with the Department of State, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Brian, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. We received a request for voluntary annexation from Adolph Balboa through his attorney, Glenn Storch Law Firm, to annex his property. It's approximately 9.7 acres, and it's located on the corner of the intersection of 10th and Vine Streets. The address is 1088 10th Street, and it is completely in unincorporated Volusia County. It contains a single-family home that was built in the 1950s, and he would like to annex into the city. One of the things that staff checks for is to see if, according to Florida statutes, they meet all of the qualifications to annex. And it was noted in the review that in their annexation and what they're attempting to annex, they would create an enclave. And this is an area where the area of Volusia County that's left after the annexation, next to the annexation, would not be able to be accessed without going through Holly Hill. So it's like an island of Volusia County. They're completely surrounded by Holly Hill. So staff is working with the applicant's attorney and also with the county to resolve the issue, and good progress has been made. And so the item was brought to the Board of Planning and Appeals, and the recommendation was made to recommend this annexation contingent upon a successful resolution of the enclave issue. The BOPA, at their meeting on September 14, 2020, they were split in their vote. 2 voted in favor of and 2 voted against recommending the annexation. So at this point, the applicant requests a continuance to the November 10th City Commission. In the meantime, we're wrapping up some final issues to resolve the enclave problem, and then we will bring this back to the commission for a vote.
Say the date one more time, Mr. Walker.
November 10th.
November 10th. So that's when we'll actually go ahead and bring this back up?
Yes, for
Okay.
first reading.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff on this? All right, at this time, we will open this up to public comment. So if you did come here tonight to speak on this, you are welcome to come up to the podium, and you'll have 5 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission tonight on this? And be aware that we're not voting on this tonight, but if you would like to speak, you can come up. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? I see you guys debating it. So no worries. You can come back November 10th when we will be hearing this for a first reading, and there will be a first reading and a second reading, and so you can have your time then as well, okay? All right. Is there anyone else? Going once, going twice? All right. And with that, I'll close public comment. And so now, Mr. Simpson, do we need a motion to table time certain of November 10th?
Either you can do a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
To a specific date certain of November 10th at 7 p.m.
Okay, all right. I will open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion to table the agenda item until November 10th at 7 p.m. for our commission meeting.
Second. Does that work?
We have a motion and a second. Let's just make sure here. Mr. Simpson,
Is that
does
satisfactory?
that suffice?
Well, I was just telling the city managers that when you make a motion to table, you got to remember at the next meeting, you got to take a motion to take it off the table. Whereas a motion to continue, you really don't have to take it
Okay.
off the table.
Madam Clerk, I'd like to change that.
So just to be
continue?
clear, your motion
Is to continue until November 10th at 7 p.m.
And your second still stands?
Second.
Mr. Daniel, all right, there we go. All right, is there any discussion needed on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor of continuing this item to November 10th signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. And now we're moving to number 2, Mr. Simpson.
Ordinance number 2020-0-3031, by title only for second and final reading. An ordinance amending section 10-1 definitions and adding section 10-51 cruelty of chapter 10 animals, article 2 care and control of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Holly Hill by prohibiting the tethering of animals, providing exceptions and conditions for the humane tethering of animals, providing for enforcement, providing for penalties for violators, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Forte, do you have anything to add?
Nothing more to add, no.
Okay. Are there any questions for staff? At this time, we will open this up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the tethering ordinance tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public participation, and I'll entertain a motion for approval. We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Johnson.
Second. Second.
From Commissioner Curry. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now moving to communications, Mr. Forte.
Couple of items. Pat and Pam contacted me to let me know that they want to host the Holly Hill Arts Festival at Sunrise Park on April 10th and 11th in 2021. So I don't bring that to your attention and see if there's any conflict or any concern that you have with that, but they're planning to move forward with April 10th and 11th for the Arts Festival. No.
Are there any
opposition,
objections?
no concern? Okay.
All right.
On Thursday, there's going to be a mobile COVID-19 testing site here at City Hall. We're going to station the mobile testing bus at the rear of City Hall so that the people working the bus have access to the restrooms at the clubhouse. It'll be put on our digital display board out front beginning tomorrow. It's on our Facebook page, and the health department will go ahead and make that announcement on their social media pages as well. So this bus is moving from one location to the other, and they had an opportunity to stop in Volusia County, and I was contacted this morning, so we figured it'd be good. We'll take advantage of that testing site. Just want to let you know that pickleball is doing well. They have a large tournament coming up at the end of the month on the
It's next
26th.
weekend.
Right, and they've got quite a few participants in that, expecting somewhere around 750 people to show up at the park that day. They've also been awarded the international tournament, which will take place in 2 years from now. So that's called the Bainbridge
I
Cup.
think it's
2021.
next, yeah, it's next April.
2021?
Yes.
I thought it was 22.
No, it's
21.
next year.
Next year, even better. So that's a big deal. That's an international tournament that we'll be hosting here. So pickleball has really taken off. They're being contacted for these things. It's something that, many cities have a niche or something that they're known for, whether it's the world's most famous beach or other beach access or things of that nature. I think Holly Hill is going to be put on the map with this pickleball. And I think the more we embrace it, the better off we're going to be, because it is out there and it is known. That's just my opinion. The Chamber is going to go ahead and do a drive-through Halloween event here through City Hall. If anybody's interested, I sent the information out. If anybody's interested in participating, go ahead and get in touch with Sammy at the Chamber, and she'll get you set up for anything that you want to do to participate with that. The CARES Act made a change. A couple of weeks ago, we had come to the Commission to request authorization to put in for monies to be reimbursed through the CARES Act for things like computer equipment, and there was a number of items that was on there. Well, they came back and made a change, and they said that first responder salaries would be included in that, and in doing that, basically our fire department response alone would be a reimbursable cost for the full $400,000. So administratively, we made that change to go ahead and get reimbursed for that. It's kind of a one-time accounting procedure, and then the savings that we have in our budget can be reallocated to go ahead and make purchases of those other items, but we don't have to do the tracking that we would need to. So that's actually a positive step for the city of Holly Hill. I wanted to remind the members of the commission that in January, we're going to be converting over from the T26 health insurance plan to the HSA plan, and everybody on the commission agreed that they would participate in the prerequisites and the requirements to get that $1,800 or up to $1,800 into your HSA savings account. So I just want to remind everyone that that time is drawing near, and if you want to get that money into your account, you've got to meet those milestones. If you have any questions, give Diana a call. She'll help walk you through that, but I didn't want time to go by without me mentioning that.
I think December 18th is the deadline, Joe.
December 18th.
It's 1900, is it 1900?
Is what?
1900.
It's a little more than 1,800, but not quite 1,900. Somewhere in that range. Unless we rounded it. We might have rounded
I
it.
thought it was 1895 or something.
Pretty close. Lastly, I wanted to make mention to the commission that last year, the last meeting in November, the fourth meeting in November, was not the same week as Thanksgiving. This year, the fourth meeting in November, the second meeting in November is the fourth week, which is 2 days before Thanksgiving. The same with Christmas. The last meeting, the second meeting of the month, is 2 days before Christmas. And if you wanted to consider canceling those meetings, tonight would be a good night to do that so that we can have staff prepare. The agenda is moving forward so that we're not scheduling things that may be canceled in the future.
Christmas is on Friday.
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Friday.
That's what I thought.
Christmas Eve is Thursday. Yeah. So we
talking about Christmas Eve.
typically cancel that that second meeting in Friday. That second meeting in December, but because Thanksgiving is the same week as that meeting, it's up to you if you're going to cancel that November meeting, 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Anybody
Would you like
have
a
anything to say?
motion, or?
We can't do both.
We could discuss it and then make a motion if we agree. Do you have anything to discuss?
I'm not going to be here for either meeting, so I'm going to be up north with family during both holidays.
Oh, she's not going to be here.
Hey, you might as well cancel it if
Might
I'm
as well
not here.
cancel.
I don't mind keeping keeping both of them because they don't fall on the holiday. I know that traditionally we do cancel the last one in December because we're usually winding down city affairs. So I don't mind if, when the time comes, if we don't have enough for an agenda, that, then it's canceled. But I hate doing it in advance, but I'm open to hearing the will of this commission if someone else wants to cancel it.
Vice Mayor has a comment over on.
Yes, sir.
I just think typically, this time of year, things are winding down, things are slow. And if we wait till the last minute to cancel it, I don't think it's fair to staff. I know if I was employed at the city and the holiday was on a Friday and Thursday is Christmas Eve, I'm probably taking off the first 3 days of that week to parlay that into a 7 or 9 day vacation. It costs you 3 days. I'm not opposed to canceling both of them. Commissioner Curry won't be here. We always have the power of something crazy comes up and is time sensitive. You could always call a special meeting.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Canceling them either. We usually always cancel the one at Christmas time anyhow, but
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to either one being canceled if it's not necessary to have it at that time.
All right, well, we got 3 commissioners already there, and as Vice Mayor said, we can call a meeting if needed, if something comes up, so keep that in mind. Mr. Forte, as you already know, do you need that in form of a motion or just consensus?
I think you should do it in form of a motion.
All right, I'll open the floor for a motion.
I'll make a motion to cancel the third meeting or
Second.
the second meeting in November and the second meeting in December. What are the dates? I don't even know.
11/24 and 12/22.
Okay.
11/24 and 12/22.
Right.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second. Now, at this time, I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the commission on canceling these 2 meetings? Without seeing any, I will close public comment. Any discussion needed? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Forte.
That's all I have, sir.
All right.
I guess I won't have to ask to be excused.
There you go. Mr. Simpson.
No comments.
All right. Mrs. Manning? Mr. Gutakis? Still nothing, huh? Okay. I want to, first off, mention I saw Sammy sneak in the room back there, our executive director of the chamber. Welcome. And today, the vice mayor and I joined her for a ribbon cutting of a new business called Holistic House down there across from the park, the Sunrise Park down there. It was a good little place, and it was a good event. What's that?
How's the pizza?
They don't have pizza down there.
Sent you one.
Oh, did you? That's who sent the pizza. Okay, I didn't have the pizza, so, but thanks anyways.
I'm sure it was good.
I'm sure it was. I do like your pizza.
I couldn't make it, so I was vegetarian, of course.
Hey, that's even better.
Yeah.
Send it a pie.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention too that there is a job fair coming up. That's this Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, this Saturday from 9 to noon, I think.
I know it
Is that
starts
right?
at 9.
The job fair, 9 to noon this Saturday. Chief's saying yes. I'm gonna go with the chief.
Okay, go with the chief.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the chief.
He's got a gun.
So yeah, he's got the gun. So if you know anybody that's looking for a job, there's supposed to be a lot of really great employers out there to do that. I did receive an email today inviting. I know that Sheriff Chitwood's gonna be there, Councilwoman Heather Post, and. Yeah, and I'll be there. I got to call her back. I'll call her back tomorrow, and I'll be there at 8:30. I think they're going to have some type of ribbon to cut.
Yes.
Okay, so we would be there. Sammy, did you have something to add to that? Yes. Okay, just yeah. Okay, at 8:30. So I believe any member of the commission can certainly also be there as well if you want to join in on that. Out of town?
I have a show. I'm out of town.
Okay. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. It's at Pickleball,
Pictona.
Pictona.
The west side of pickleball.
The west side of Pictona for anyone listening online. So if you know someone, get them out to the job fair. I know there's a lot of people looking for work right now because of this pandemic. So I also want to tell the commission too, Mr. Forte brought to my attention a business that was recognized in the News Journal for 35 years of great service, always here in Holly Hill, and I wrote a proclamation for them congratulating them on their 35 years, and I delivered it to them today at the Hubcap House on Nova Road. And what a really nice guy. We had a good talk down there, Mr. Lukac, Richie Lukac, and so wanted to let the commission know that. And lastly, I wanted to thank Ariel once again, Kavanaugh back there, for believing in our community, loving our community. And, you know, the easiest thing in the world is to get on Facebook and to complain and to point fingers. And as I said earlier, we have a lot of great staff that do a lot of hard work, and a lot of them are working their butts off right now. When you speak about the fact that we do not have our normal people cutting the grass, which are our inmates, and they're cut way back, and so our public works director employees are pushed to their limit, and it's easy for people to sit back at home behind a computer and just to say negative things. But for you to step up and actually see the negative and then want to fix it, that's just the greatest thing in the world. And so we value people like you. I applaud you. Thank you for putting people together, and I know how hard you've worked and your passion for it. So I just ask you to continue that. We're going to be ears open for ideas, because we all up here, we all want to make Holly Hill a better, cleaner, brighter, better place. So thank you once again, and with that, I will go to Commissioner Daniel.
Commissioner Daniel doesn't have a whole lot. Just want to remind everybody that Oktoberfest is upon us, and just to be careful, and if you see crazy people like congested, kind of remind them that we've worked real hard to get where we're at, and we don't want to blow it. So other than that, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Johnson?
Just a couple of things. So I'd like to really been a long-term business guy in this area, 50 years or so. I'd really want to commend Keith Nordman for him and his organization, what he does. And I've seen some of it in action. And that's, without him, Volusia County would be a lot worse off, believe me, Keith. You do a great job. And to another thing I'd like to caution, when I was in the military, we didn't care too much for handling live grenades. We always want to get rid of them quick. And when you start talking about picking up needles off the ground and things, it kind of reminds me of handling a live hand grenade. There's really no difference. So really be careful. You need to have the grabbers to pick them up. They'll stick through rubber gloves, even leather gloves. And all it takes is one time, and it could be believe me, deadly. You know? So I'd be careful about that. And another thing is, too, just because we've dodged the bullet so many times on these bad storms, don't forget storm season's not over. They could still come our way, so we need to be prepared for them. And that's I think about all I have. I'll pass on to the next commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Vice Mayor?
It's in this time of pandemic and COVID-19, we've got new businesses coming to our community. We went to the Holistic House today on Riverside Drive, and it was exciting to see a new business owner so passionate about her business and her cause, and thanking her mother for helping her get to where she is. It was an honor to be there. But we have 2 restaurants that have opened. Beto's Tacos in the 500 block of Ridgewood, and then the seafood market. I don't know what the official name of that seafood market is, but
I think it's like J and L.
It's in the 600 block. I had the opportunity to go in, and those people have spent a lot of money in that building. I don't know if they bought the building, but there's stainless steel everywhere inside that place. They've invested a ton of money. So just exciting. I'd like to, again, thank Ariel for coming forward. It's a shame. I saw the trash up there, and it was perfectly lined up. And it's just such a shame that more owners don't take pride in ownership, because all you had to do is take a rake, and you could have just, all that stuff, so easy to clean up. And
2 minutes, yeah.
It made me think that, the beach cleanup happens all the time. And is there any way, can we reach out to the city? Will they lend us their beach cleaning? It's like a street sweeper for the beach. After a big storm like that, if we could borrow or rent a piece of equipment, we could clean that whole place up in 2 hours.
I'm not familiar with the piece of equipment, so I don't know. the
It's this thing, it drags the beach and it churns stuff up. It's like, it throws big pieces into the
Work
hopper.
on
in the back.
sand, because you don't really have a sand environment there.
I don't know, I'm just being Pollyanna, I guess, but it'd be nice if there was some way to drag that stuff and clean it up with a machine, then all these volunteers out there getting hundreds of pounds, but that, like she said, that was a drop in the bucket. And now it's dispersed back into the river and all over the place because people have cut their grass and they're too lazy to pick it up, they just chop it up. So,
Metal mulch.
thank you for your efforts. You know, it's like the starfish. You saved the one starfish. You couldn't save them all. But thank you for saving that starfish.
Well
That's it.
said. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Curry?
Thank you. I too would like to thank you for your efforts. My neighbor actually joined you at your last cleanup, Carol Whaley. She was telling me about it. So thank you very much. Hopefully one of these times I can make one of your dates that I won't have my grandchildren or something else. But I really did. And hopefully we can team up with you to get more done. I also appreciate the fact that we all wanted to recognize that, the issue of domestic violence, and that's a very serious issue. Also, added on to your job fair, they're doing a food drop across the street at Pictona at 9 o'clock on Saturday. They want you to enter off of 10th Street. So anybody that is in need, little help, what have you, or if you know people, spread the word. They're going to be there Saturday at 9 a.m. at the same time as the job fair. So,
Get a job and something to eat all the same.
hey,
Yeah.
you just have to go home and cook
One-stop
it.
shop.
What more could you want? So and they do a lot of food drops around this area, and because I see it all the time on Facebook, I'm just really impressed at how much that they're helping the community with that. Because I know that there's a huge need in our community, not just our city, surrounding cities. So I really appreciate that they do that. And other than that, I hope everybody has a good night.
Great. And I too want to, in addition to thanking Ariel, also Mr. Legary, please thank your daughter for going out there and doing that for us as well. I saw her picture out there doing that, so thank you. And with that, is there any further business? With that, we are adjourned. Okay.
For whatever reason, it just came out.